Welcome to another Ariaswave price action update. So in this video, we're just going to talk about current price action and take a look at that spike that happened in the the STR USDT chart. I posted a chart about that when it happened, and it's very interesting to see that pumped like 70% or more in a very in about 5 to 10 minutes or something. It was pretty insane. Um, so right now on the XLM chart, we're seeing an incomplete D wave. And I find it really interesting how this particular chart hasn't performed the same spike as the STR chart, right? So we'll take a look at that in a sec, but we're still waiting on the C wave for the D wave. Now, I do believe that started around here and we're supposed to see that move up, but it's still consolidating there and it still hasn't broken support. So according to the other chart I'm going to show you, that's not going to be broken until the pattern's complete. So we're still waiting on that. Now, if we just go over to the STR chart, just so I can show you this crazy thing that happened. Right now, this happened probably like a couple of hours ago. And like I said, I posted a chart and you can see that this thing spiked up to like 24 cents. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means for STR chart because I mean, where would you trade that, right? So whatever pump and dump scheme that was, I'm sure somebody made some money. But anyway, like just going with the waves, we're waiting for a wave E to happen. So typically we'd see this move come back down, and there's no rule to say. Well, there is a rule. It just can't go below the start of wave one. But typically, when corrections are expanded like that, they'll typically end around uh, basically around here, right? So I don't see this going much lower. If it does, that means that there's something going on with the count, and we need to revise that. Have a look, take a look, and see what's the deal. But because it happened the way it did, and it came back in a straight line, to me, that's indication of a wave E. It's the kind of example that I want to highlight here as to what can possibly happen after this move up in XLM, where I say that it's going to around $15 roughly. Right, it's just a bit of a highlight as to the type of move that comes after that, right? So to me, this pullback right after it spiked is the type of sharp move down that you could expect afterwards. All right. Now we're supposed to see a move up after this. This is supposed to be wave two of wave three. So I expect this to start moving back up, and once we break the highs, that's confirmation that wave two has completed when we hit that high up there. Right now, let me just remind you of something, right? Let's go to the 4-hour chart for a moment. Now, if this is a wave E, as I've been telling you that it is, right? Let me just get this together for a second. Yeah, so wave E, I believe it ended up here. Right, so it didn't quite hit that high there. Let's just go to the XLM chart for a second. I think I have it labeled there. No, I did have it labeled. Yeah, so it didn't quite hit the start of wave 5, right? So yeah, it hasn't quite confirmed yet, but the fact that it went that high and broke above this wave here, I mean, that can't be, in my opinion anyway, that can't be a wave like a wave two of price action that's going to continue lower. I mean, it just seems a bit silly for a wave to do that, even though it's part of the wave structure. It just seems like it's a bit far out. Now, definitely that was a exaggerated wave C for sure, absolutely. But these things happen, and why do they happen though? You've got to ask yourself that question. Why does that happen? So I reckon it's definitely been a bit of buying in there for some reason, and it's caused that spike. But it was short lived. It could have been a pump and dump. You never know. But yeah, it's just one of those things, and this has happened before. It's not the first time this has happened, right? Back here on this chart, you've got this move here, right? Can you see that? Right, it's almost like that's a three-wave move, right? And that's not on the XLM chart, right? That little spike down. So, but this one that happened is much larger though. So it really makes you wonder what's the deal there. But I mean, the way I see it, if it's a part of the pattern, then obviously it's gonna produce some results. But I mean, just take a look at the kind of move that is. I mean, that's huge. Compare it to what happened at the start of, or roughly mid-May 2021. You can see that move there. I mean, that's pretty large, and this one was like comparable to that move. It's like, wow. Um, I mean, we got to get a move to take us all the way up to here to confirm. Actually, I've already got it marked on there to confirm. You know, this wave here, a break of this high up here will confirm the reversal, right? So we've got two waves that we need to break to start off. This first magenta line up here, and then the second one will be up here. Okay, now you probably remember me saying this not long ago on a couple of videos back, but by the time you get there, I mean that's confirmation, but we're probably gonna see this pump like crazy. And I mean, what would have been the point to that if you could have got in cheaper? And I believe it's still cheap. So I do think that this is a sign of things to come. Bit weird on why it happened only on the STR chart, but once again, these things do happen, and we're seeing basically price action going very slowly on the XLM chart. But nonetheless, it's still something to keep an eye on. According to this particular count that I'm looking at now, we can't go below this little mini low here. Yeah, because if this is the correct count, then we've already broken the little high for E of that D, and now we're going to see that one just push higher. So let's keep an eye on this, right? It's very interesting, and I'll report back shortly with an update.